What's going on, traders? It's Jay. Thanks for checking out my trade journey. Today is August 12th, and I'm going to go over my trade recap for the week. So I took a couple of trades early in the week, and if you were watching the markets, you know Thursday and Friday were pretty crummy days given the geopolitical climate with North Korea and some of the stuff in the news that was going on. So Monday, I was watching HZNP, and I tried to get in right after the opening bell. I tried to get in twice, and I chased it a little bit. I got to be honest. I couldn't get filled on limit orders on either of these two candles. I finally got filled down here around 1335, and it made a quick bounce off 13. And as it started to come back up, I went ahead and covered, and I got covered around 1323, so just below the quarter. I only had a couple hundred shares because of the price of this stock. So I had made a few bucks, and I kind of ignored a lot of the rules that I have for myself when I made this trade. First and foremost, don't chase. I typically, if I don't get filled, I'll just let the move go, and I'll watch the balloon float away, kind of, so to speak. And I didn't do that because there was a lot of selling pressure coming in. So I thought, okay, this thing's definitely going to make a move. And I think I made like 15 bucks, which, is nothing after commissions, but I should have just been happy with adding a few dollars on my account. Well, you'll see here in the next minute, once it started the move back up, it went up like 80 cents in this minute. And then it basically got stuffed right at the whole dollar. I really wanted to short it once I can't remember where it was, but watching this didn't make me feel great about shorting it. I should have. I mean, you can see here clear resistance at 14. Even if you would have risked, put your risk above the opening candle here, you're only risking about a dime. But I don't know, maybe my mindset just wasn't right. But I was greedy was the big thing here, and I watched it make pretty much this entire move. And I had kind of chased it down here, and I wasn't getting filled. So I decided to get in at 1327. And if you see the low of this candle, it was 1323. So I almost picked the bottom for a short, which, as you know, was terrible. And in hindsight, what I didn't realize is this 1325. I know I've said this in other videos. If you see my other videos, quarter, half dollar, 75 cents, and the whole dollar act as natural support and resistance. Well, I was too busy chasing candles to realize that, and I got in at the bottom, and then it literally went against me for almost $80. Again, I had like 235 shares, so I didn't have a whole lot of shares, but I didn't put a stop in either because I kind of wanted to see what was going to happen, and it popped up real quick. I got kind of scared, I got to be honest. I thought, okay, I might be losing a big chunk of my account here, and then it started to come back down. You see that's a pretty sizable wick, so there was quite a bit of selling pressure. If I would have just held it for another minute, this thing actually got back down to 1328. So I would have only taken a few dollar loss, but I took it out around 1345, I think was. Yeah, my exit was at 1345 when this was starting to come back down here. So two trades, and I ultimately ended up losing about 40 bucks. That took my account down to just above the $500 minimum for share trader. Needless to say, I ignored some of the staple rules that I have for myself. One being don't be greedy in my trades, and two is I typically don't want to take a second trade unless the setup is perfect. And I completely ignored that, and it cost me the little bit of profit that I had, and then some, obviously. Just be cognizant of chasing, and I know it's hard not to. I was just kind of antsy early this week, and I was wanting to make more trades. And I ended up taking two trades that actually were not really good setups. I mean, I just got lucky chasing this one, quite honestly, because if I would have gotten in, say, after this candle started to form on a short, I would have lost over $200. I mean, it spiked up really quick in this candle. So I got lucky here, and then I got bit a little bit over here on this move. Not a good way to start the week for me. And then on Wednesday, I was watching ACHN, and this had, I think, gapped up. Yeah, gapped up big overnight. You'll see this thing went up a couple of bucks what was it down at? 390 up to 540. So that's big, $1.50 on a $4 stock. This would have been great for what I like to call my opening range breakout or breakdown play. I was a little bit shook from Monday. When the candles have a lot of wicks, I tend to be a little hesitant about trading them. What I want to show you is, so if we do a fib, so the opening range that I look for is in generally the first 3 to 5 minutes. Look for the high, look for the low. If we just do a fib retracement from the high, which happened to be at $5 right here on this candle, 3 minutes in, down to the low of the opening candle, that right there, that's kind of the opening range, what I like to look for a breakout on. Now, you could have gotten faked a little bit on this candle here. You'll see it just kind of wicked up over it, and then it got pushed back down. That's a good candle to get in on, I got to be honest. If you see the volume is increasing, I probably would have gotten in there, and then the thing would have dropped about 15 cents. So that's enough for me to probably, I would have gotten in and gotten stopped out there. If you didn't get in on that candle, you thought, okay, it made a double top, I'm going to wait for the third breakout. It broke out, retests that support, and then it proceeded to make a big move. Now, I like to use fibs to pick profit targets as well. I generally want to take profit at the 1.272 and then 1.618 are the two profit targets that I look to take my shares off the table at. Now, obviously, you can see that this was a runner and it went beyond that. What I want to show you here is how the fib levels really kind of marked where this stock made some moves. So we broke out over the whole dollar here at 5, and then right up to the 1.618 level. So here it blew right through the 1.272, right up to the 1.618. Obviously, you got a little wick here up to 5.25, but I mean that's within 4 cents. Pulls back to the 1.272 where it finds support, and then it proceeds to blast up to the 2.618. And this is all just off of the one fib from the opening range. And I like to do this a lot of times when I'm seeing stocks that are showing that volatility in the morning and look like they have a good move. I always look for that first move, and then I look for the first red candle, and then I know, okay, so here's the top of my opening range, here's my low. Vice versa, if you're looking for a breakdown, you would look for that first move up on the green candle, and then you would look for it to start to move down. And then you would look for one little pullback, green candle up, and you can retrace this the exact opposite way for a short. If you're smart and you see this candle here, the opening candle it's a hammer. It signals what could be a change in direction for the stock. The reason I bring that up right now is you've got a hammer down here, and then this is a shooting star. Same thing, but it's at the top of an uptrend. This candle opened at 550, 556. Pushed up, and then it got pushed back down, which generally signals, again, a reversal in the trend. Not always, but pretty good chance that it is. You see volume was actually fading some from the previous candle, which is another sign that the trend could be changing directions. So you could have shorted it around that 555 area. And I don't think like this. So don't think that this is how I make my plays. This is where I want to be because I want to play both sides of a move. You get a pretty parabolic move up here in the first 20 minutes of the day. And then the steam kind of runs out, and then you short it, and the thing just fades. Let's say you shorted it around the $5.50 mark. I mean, look, it got crushed the rest of the day. Once it gets under VWAP, it's going to be very hard for the stock to get back over VWAP later in the day. So, I mean, look at that. Just through the end of the day, it went right back down to where it started. I mean, it found support at that low, that opening candle. So let's say you got any piece of this first parabolic move up, could have made yourself some good profit. And then if you were watching and were paying attention, like, okay, this could be the sign of a reversal, and you short here and, risk off high a day, that's about a dime, 10, 12 cents. That's not a lot of risk, especially after a win, and then you just watch it fade. And even if you took it off at the VWAP bounce, that's another 30, 40 cents. And that's only in the first, 40 minutes of the day. So I was a little upset with myself that I didn't take any trades here. But again, I'm right at that level where if I lose a trade, I am not going to have enough money in my account to use margin on SureTrader. And I mean, with let's say it's $450, you're going to be very limited in the stocks that you can play. So you got to play really cheap stocks, and you can't use margin on those anyway. But let's say you got $400 and you've got a $4 stock, you can get 100 shares. To make any money and overcome the commissions on Short Trader, you've got to make at least $15. So the stock has to make a pretty sizable move for you to capitalize off of 100 shares on a smaller stock. So you can see how it's going to be harder to make money once you're into that $500 level. And I am not putting any more money into this account. So I'm only looking for absolute winners that I know I can scalp a quick few bucks. And in hindsight, this kind of looks like it. But again, like I said, I was just very gun shy after my loss on Monday, and I really didn't want to be wrong yet again. Friday, I was watching NVIDIA, so I want to show you guys something that I think is pretty crazy. I've got this channel drawn here, and I can't remember when I actually put this on, but the stock gapped up after earnings back in November last year, and all I did was draw the channel based off of the base where it gapped up to this move. And if you look at it, it has only popped up over this channel significantly. And obviously there's been a couple days where it wicked up, but 2 times here and then here. Otherwise, it's really just been kind of trading in this channel range, which is pretty crazy to me. If you, again, and I don't obviously have the cash to trade stocks on this or even options. The options are several $100s, and that's too rich for my blood right now. But looking at, again, another fib retracement that I put on this. So if you look at the high of this candle here, when it got to the top of the range right before earnings, it was at 174.5 or so. So if you draw your retracement from there, and I know this gapped down, but if you look at the fibs, it bounced right off the 0.382. Now, I'm not saying that that's great, but again, you can use fibs to kind of earmark where the stock might go. I think given that the 50 SMA is here, and it kind of got pushed down to that, and then the bottom of the channel here is just above it, it's going to have a hard time getting back up. Maybe not. Again, I just think it's pretty uncanny how this thing really has not moved above this channel. Now you can see it got down below the channel here, and stock just kind of ranged horizontally before it finally made a move up. So who knows? You know, maybe this will go sideways for a while. Maybe it'll pop right back up. Again, with the things that are going on in the news, you really don't know what the market's going to do. I'll be interested to see, but I just thought that was kind of cool, and I wanted to share that with you guys. So that was it for my week. A couple of trades, didn't make any money. Maybe next week will hold something else for me. Thanks. See you guys in the next one.
Yeah, I like to keep it mellow. I smoke and keep it mellow. I drink and keep it mellow. Every day I keep it mellow.